Hello, everybody. Spider here, coming to the podcast, of course, coming to you once again, San Antonio, Texas. Being joined by Zach Borrego, my man. How are you doing, brother?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's been a while, but I'm glad to be on.
No, no, for sure, man. And that's what I was just saying earlier, man. I mean, for the most part, man, the only time, and I say this because every time, I mean, being here in San Antonio, I would run into everybody from San Antonio when I would be covering fights in Dallas and Houston and Austin, bro. That's how I was able to catch up with everybody, man. But
Yeah.
I mean, you guys live in the gym and of course work and everything else, so it's kind of hard for you guys to get away, huh?
No, yeah. I mean, for me, I feel like between my time here in Houston, that's kind of like all I'm doing, but at the same time, there's some familiar faces that I'll pop into here and there, around town or something like that.
No, yeah, and I was going to ask you about that, man, because when it comes to training, I mean, of course, you've been training at the DKA, of course, Academy, as everybody knows it, man, but the Dojo
Mhm.
Karate Academy, bro, for years. I mean, this is something that, I mean, of course, it's family owned, with your
Right.
father being the head instructor, the owner out there, man. But tell us, I mean, throughout the years, bro. I mean, of course, we've talked about karate and your influence. I mean, compared to like 5 years from now, man, how would you describe your style now?
I mean, for right now, that's always my base. Give me 1 second. Hey, let me finish this call, okay? Um, Sorry, we just finished up a class, so I got some kids running around. But yeah, that karate's always been my base, and that's kind of what our school started from. That's definitely what I've been doing my whole life. I've transitioned into kickboxing. I started doing Muay Thai as a kid, but once I kind of got into the MMA scene, the biggest thing for me, as you know, like I fight 185, 205, and so finding the partners was something big that I was looking for, and it kind of just worked out. That I knew some people training out of Houston in Ward Training Center, and those coaches over there had been trying to get me to go out there for a while, and so finally about I was doing the math on this almost 2 years. 2 years in May. I've been going out there, 3 times a week or so, and getting training out there. So, it's all part of my journey. It's all been something that from one thing has opened the door to the next, and yeah, that's kind of how it's been.
No, no, for sure. And I was gonna say, man. I mean, I know you've posted photos with cross training. I always assumed there was someone here locally, man. But you've been going out
Mhm.
there.
No, yeah. So, I do my best to go out there, continuously at least, twice a week or something like that. But when I'm in camp, usually my schedule is like Tuesday through Thursday, and I'm staying out there at the gym or, with a training partner or something like that. And pretty much training 4 times a day out there, doing as much as I can, while I can.
No, and I was gonna say, man. I mean, especially being out there, you can't just go to train one time a week, right? You got to get up as much
No,
as you can
yeah.
out of it, man.
And that's something too that I love about those guys is, definitely as a professional, I feel like you should be training, at least 2 times a day. And I'm still doing that out there, but I know that, when I'm seeing guys who live out there who are at the gym, 3 or 4 times a day, like I got to be matching that, and so it's just been all around like a really good environment, really good training partners, really good coaches, and something that, I feel like is going to do me good.
Man, and of course, man. I mean, there's so much that has happened since that last time I had you on here, man. Because I mean, you've gone through a few wars, man. You've actually uh, gone into fatherhood. I mean, I've already told
Yes.
you twice, bro. Congratulations, man. So I gotta
Yes.
ask you, as a father, has anything changed for you mentally with the fight game?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely, shifted my perspective a little bit as to, kind of the reality of not only what can come, but, what comes with it. And the biggest thing is, I had my two beautiful babies back to back, so they're about 9 months apart. And that was crazy. I don't know what we were thinking, but, overall, it's been a blessing. And now I think, this past camp it's been really hard because my 1 year old is starting to like, when I leave, he doesn't want me to leave, and he's he's definitely like I can see now how valuable my time is when I'm home and when I'm with him. So it's definitely changed, man. It's a huge sacrifice that, before I used to say, without kids, oh, fighting's a sacrifice, but I didn't know what I was talking about, back then. Now that I have kids that are waiting on me and making sure that, everything is provided for them. And so it is a big sacrifice. But, I love doing it. And my dad always used to tell me, man, because of course I grew up in a gym, he was the same way. And, he would always tell me like this lifestyle, is it comes with a lot of perks, but at the same time, it comes with a lot of sacrifice, and it really hasn't hit home until this past year or so. So it's been a blessing for sure.
No, man, and that's why the reason I bring that up, of course, too, was because you said you go to Houston and you train out there, 4 days a week. So how long do you
Mhm.
normally stay out there?
Yeah, so usually my schedule when I'm in camp is getting out there Tuesday morning, and I'll pretty much stay until like Thursday night. Before I was able to do a few more days, but now with two at home,
Yeah.
mom is waiting for me to get back.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say you gotta go clock in for fatherhood, man. That's
yeah.
awesome though, man. But yeah, bro. And I gotta ask you. I mean, when it came to the picking names, bro. I mean, what did you guys name your babies, man?
Yeah, so I have Zaire and I have Gael. And Zaire was my first one, and so I wasn't, you know, too big on having a junior, but I did love the initial ZB.
Yeah.
And so that's why we went with Zaire. It was very unique. It was very my girlfriend's family is I'm Mexican, of course, but her family is from Mexico, and so we wanted something that can be pronounced, in both dialects,
Oh
if you
yeah.
will. And so, Zaire kind of fit that, Zaid whenever they're calling him, and Zaire for us. And then Gael, I love the name with a K. That one was kind of like, so funny story. I really wanted to name him Cash. I don't know why. I just love the name Cash, but mom didn't let me, so we compromised with the K, and Gael is his name. Again,
Oh,
little twist on Gael is like a typical,
yeah.
Mexican Spanish name, and so we kind of just made our own little twist to it.
Okay, man. I was gonna ask you because I thought you said Gael in the beginning, but no, it's with a K.
It's with the K, yes sir, Gael.
Oh man, I thought you were trying to use the initial DKA, man. I was like, what's going on, big bro?
Someone told me about that the other day. I'm like, it's funny how that works. It magically, like I wasn't even thinking about it, and somehow they're in there. So
Yeah. No, no, no. That's awesome, man. I mean, especially it being a family-owned business. I mean, this is once
mhm.
again, this is something that we had talked about before, and not so much your dad stepping down or stop teaching, but I mean, for one day, for him to actually give you the gym and for you to take over, man. So I mean, is this something you're thinking? I mean, of course, I don't know if the kids or your kids are going to be growing up in the gym, like
Mhm.
yourself, man. But I mean, is this something you're looking forward to pass on to the next generation?
No, of course, I think again, like now that I'm actually experiencing fatherhood, a lot of things have changed. Before actually having my kids, I was like, yeah, they're gonna be in the gym, they're gonna be this and they're gonna be that. And now that they're here, like, I mean, they're just so, you know, this is gonna sound corny, but just so pure and beautiful that like I almost sometimes get offended, in a way, not fully, but like when people are like, "Oh, they're gonna be fighters," I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna be a lawyer. He's gonna be a
Yeah,
mayor. He's gonna be." I know what this fight game brings sometimes, and I know, no one really wants to see their kids kind of have to go through that, especially when I'm going through it right now. But if that's the path they choose, they'll definitely have every avenue that my dad has given me, and I'll do the same for them. And just the way how things go, like me being here literally all the time is forced them to be there with me. And of course, my fiance is here with me as well, and so it's just they're
nice.
growing up in the gym, so it's a beautiful feeling.
No, no, for sure, man. And let me ask you, man, how old are they gonna have to be before they see you fight live, bro?
My Zaire, which is my oldest, has already seen me fight once, and unfortunately, that was like, the war that I had this past fight,
Yeah.
and I didn't really want him to, but the fight was in Houston, and so it just kind of worked out that way. But for this next one, they're going to be staying at home, and I don't know, maybe when the time's right, I'll know. But I told mom, and I think we all agreed as a family, like we'll probably wait a couple of
Yeah.
years for them to start seeing it.
No, no, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, growing up in the gym, I mean, I'm sure they're going to be growing up to people sparring and making contact,
Hmm.
but seeing pops get in the cage or in the ring, right? I mean, you kind of want to wait up a little bit, man.
Yeah, I've already been told. So my oldest was in the NICU for about a month, and because of that, we have to see like a NICU specialist.
Yeah.
Just little checkups every so often. And the last checkup we were at, he's like he has a bad habit of hitting things. Like he just thinks it's so fun. And the NICU specialist was like, "Is he like around people hitting?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he grows up in the gym, so it's already happening naturally, man."
Oh man, no, no, for sure, bro. And of course, I gotta ask you, man, because when it comes to training, I mean, it is a grueling sport, like you said. There's a lot of sacrifice.
Mhm.
I mean, what are some things that you changed in your training, like say from 5 years ago, man? I mean, is there things that you added that you took away?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've been focusing on, again, I feel like is because of my kids is when I'm out of the gym, I try to like just not focus on that, which is very hard, especially when you have a fight. But to really be like fully locked in to stuff on the outside, and that has forced me to focus on my recovery more, focus on maybe taking a day off, and it's a little bit easier when you got two little kids that want to go to the zoo or something like that.
Yeah,
That you can kind of do that, but I think that's also kind of come with my age. I'm 29 now, and I definitely feel my body kind of, I don't want to say catching up, but I'm just
yeah,
not able to bounce back as quick as I once was.
right.
Not to say that I've lost a step
No,
or
no, no,
anything,
not at
but
all, man, not at all.
um, just definitely paying attention more. Being a lot more present, kind of understanding, that as much as this is my life, like I have another life as well, that I need to be fully present for. And so it's been overall, like I said, man, like through everything, the word that always comes back to me lately is just gratitude. Like I'm very thankful for everything that's happened, and that's kind of like I feel reflected into my training a little bit.
No, no, for sure, man. I mean, because it's like I tell people, I mean, I still know a lot of the guys in the sport that are, some that are in the UFC now, and it's like to think about, you know, it taking in that like pretty much 8 to 10 years to get into the UFC, man. I mean, that's a long
Yeah.
freaking time. And so it's like, it's like one of those things. I mean, sometimes, you get lucky or not lucky, but you get that opportunity and you get to get in there a lot quicker. But for the most part, it's like, I mean, a lot of people stop, because it is a lot of sacrifice. It is a lot of time away from home. And, it's not for everybody. I mean, the
Right.
fact that some of you guys are blessed, like yourself, with people that understand and that are around that, sport. So it kind of helps. But, at the same
No,
time,
100%.
no. But let me ask you, bro, as far as injuries, I mean, what has been the worst injury for you since you started your career?
Again, like I have to be really really just grateful and thankful that nothing too serious has happened, and I know a lot of training partners and a lot of people that have torn ligaments or broken bones and stuff like that. And thankfully, like I guess thankfully none of that has happened, but the only thing that really has happened is kind of the wars that I've been in. I've been in some tough scraps, and again, I think that if they were to happen, it should happen inside the cage when we're getting paid for it, not in the gym. So, I've been blessed with that, but I have the normal bumps and bruises, the twist here and there, but thank God I got to knock on something,
No,
man.
no, for
But
sure, man, for sure.
nothing too crazy has happened, and again, I feel like that's a big I grew up an athlete. I played college football, and when I was playing football, like that was something too that they kind of like really emphasized was taking care of your bodies. And so I've kind of kept the same regimen, kept the same recovery methods. Being a little bit more dialed in, outside of camp, I feel like is definitely kind of been a testament to my longevity, if you will, so far.
No, no, definitely, bro. No, when I posted this, I actually commented and I put your return to the cage because you actually ventured into boxing, man. Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, was that like on
Yeah.
your bucket list, or how did you go about doing that?
Yes, it's always, at the end of the day, I'm a sports combat enthusiast. I'm a prize fighter, and I want to do everything. I've actually gotten two offers now, and one offer was literally the week of the boxing fight from Karate Combat, and so that's something too that, like, I definitely want to do while I can. Because the goal is still very obtainable, and it's still very in reach to get to the UFC. And I know once I get there that, you're going to kind of be locked in with just the UFC. So
Yeah,
a big part of that boxing fight, really and honestly, was I started taking, boxing. Not to say I haven't done it, but I've just been doing it more consistently, more seriously. Started going to boxing only gyms. Started sparring with, professional boxers who are 15-0, 16-0, and kind of just getting a taste for the sport and diving myself into it. And I feel like, I know the promoter that put on that card, and me and his son actually go to the same strength and conditioning gym. So he's been
okay.
trying to get me, to fight on his card for a while. And I was supposed to be fighting with Fury in like December, January. Nothing really was coming to fruition. So I got a call like 3 weeks before the fight, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. I need
Nice.
some money for some Christmas gifts. So
No,
that's how
no,
that
now
worked
you
out.
got two babies at home, man. You need that money, bro.
Yep. Yep.
Man, well, that's cool, man. Because of course, I mean, you came out victorious, man. So I mean, going into that boxing bout, I mean, did you get? Or well, let me ask you this. I mean, were the nerves the same as stepping inside the cage, or were they different?
To be completely honest with you, bro, like it was very weird, and I've talked about this with other people after, but like I, vividly remember like not feeling anything like up until like I got in the ring and I was like, oh shit, like I'm about to fight. You know what I mean? Like it was so weird. Like, and I don't think it had anything to do with like me not respecting the sport or anything
Oh,
like
right.
that. But I've talked with Alex Morano, one of my training partners out in Houston, and he told me that, like, man, there's nothing like, the mentality that you have to prepare yourself for an MMA fight, because like it's a fight. It can go anywhere, that when there's elbows and knees and takedowns, and it's just so much more like uh I don't want to say pressure, but I mean, yeah, I guess it is kind of pressure that you kind of have to prepare yourself for. Whereas with this boxing fight, like, I was like, don't get caught with an overhand, don't stay inside too much. And so it was very weird. But again, like once I stepped in the ring, I started like feeling the bounce. I had shoes on, which was kind of weird. I was like, okay, this is the real deal, So it was a little different, but I think what I learned from that experience, I definitely am taking with me into this next fight. And that's just kind of like letting things come, let everything come, not kind of uh, over drill myself, not over prepare myself to where the point like I'm freaking myself out, like kind of just enjoy it as an experience as a whole, and let my skill kind of show itself.
No, no, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, congratulations with that bout, man. You had
Thank you.
mentioned Karate Combat because that is one of the ones that we had talked about years ago about,
Yeah.
possibly doing, man. And, back then, I mean, of course, I know it was just MMA you were venturing into, man. But I mean,
Right.
now that that's up in the air, I mean, are you looking at any other promotions, man? And this is not to take anything away from any promotion. I mean, all of them I
Mhm.
respect, and all of them are doing a great job. But what about like Dirty Boxing, man? They're going down in Houston, Texas tonight. I mean,
Yeah,
is that
I got a
continue
training
going on?
partner. I got two training partners fighting on that card too. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I did re-sign with Fury, so I am locked in with them for 4 fights. But I feel like Eric and I, the promoter of Fury, do have a good connection to where if I did want to venture off into something, he would allow me to do that. Always with the intention of me coming back and
Right.
finishing my MMA fights here. And the Karate Combat, like, I know a lot of people, just because I was in karate that have competed and who know me. And so those opportunities have come twice. Both were short notice opportunities, where it just kind of like, this last one was literally the week before my boxing fight, and they called me like 3 days before. And as much as I wanted to jump in a plane and go to Miami to do that, I did have an obligation already that, I
Right.
was, kind of contracted to do. But, I think that the more successful I am in the cage, the more those opportunities will open up. And I would just be, kind of dumb to not take advantage of those opportunities. I think that everything, like, for instance, this boxing fight, like, I can't tell you how many people after were like, I'm gonna go see you fight, MMA, your next fight. And so it's all good for the sport and for my career itself.
No, no, for sure, man. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, man, because there was a couple of faces, from MMA that were jumping on there, bro, and I thought that was pretty cool
Yeah.
because it's kind of like a long time coming. I mean, of course, it is a different sport, but I mean, like you said, you guys do training boxing, you guys do training conditioning, for you not to want to use knees or elbows, of course. I mean, was that a hard thing for you to do once you got in there, man?
Yeah, man. I told my pops after, I'm like, in an MMA fight, like, a lot of the reads that I make, sometimes aren't as quick as they were coming to me in the boxing fight. Like, the guy
Yeah,
I was fighting kept ducking, and the first thing that kept popping in my mind was like, knee, knee. And I'm
yeah,
like, dude, how come this doesn't happen when I'm fighting MMA, But
yeah.
it was, like I said, it was a good little switch up. And I think, overall, I feel like it made me better as a competitor, and even with that being said, like, I know a lot of MMA guys, do venture off into boxing. And I think one thing that I was pretty proud of myself is, like, I really immersed myself into the sport. I had some off time, so I had, the availability to do some boxing rounds. And I was able to work because, I'm gonna be honest with you, I know how some of these boxing promoters are, man. And
Oh
they
yeah.
set up these MMA guys with someone who's like 16-0 or something like that. So I didn't have an opponent, like, literally till the week of. I had someone and he dropped out, and then
Damn.
people were telling me like, "Hey, you're fighting this guy." I'm like, "No, I haven't heard nothing." So I was doing everything I could to be prepared.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to one of my boxing training partners. His name's Josh Juarez. He's out of Laredo, but he trains here in San Antonio out of Chato's boxing gym. And
Nice.
he's next up. I don't know if I can let out the full details of what he's got next, but he's 16-0, undefeated as a heavyweight. And
Nice.
definitely, was a big training partner of mine for that fight, and still is. So,
No, no, for sure, man. Well, what are the chances of him getting into MMA, bro?
funny story. So when I reached out to him, because, like I said, I had heard from a few people, like, he was someone good to work with. And so I had reached out to him, and he was like, "Hey, bro, like, yeah, I know who you are. I followed your MMA career." He's like, "My dad actually did Shotokan karate out here in Laredo, and he knows your dad. So he got his black belt, through someone that my dad's trained with too." And so
Oh,
he kind of
sweet,
grew
bro.
up in a Shotokan karate gym, and then ventured off into boxing. So, like I said, this small world in
Yeah.
combat sports, but everything kind of opens the door, for whatever's next. So,
No, no, for sure, man. And that's one of the things about, even cross training. You get to meet a lot more faces. A lot, for the most part, everybody follows everybody, man. But it's not until you meet somebody face to face that you're kind of like, okay, you know what, you get that vibe, and people
yeah,
welcome you in, and before you know it, they're like, hey, I got this guy, I got that guy. You get
yeah.
those referrals, and that's the best thing in the world, man.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. That, like, I have a few amateurs that are going to be fighting on this Fury card too, and they've been going to the boxing gym and getting some boxing rounds with me. And I tell them, like, all the time, I think sometimes, like, each sport kind of has, obviously we're fighters, and so we have our own egos. But, like, I harp on being a student of the game, and sometimes you kind of have to, like, drop your ego a little bit. You have to kind of, like, humble yourself and walk into a boxing gym and say, obviously I'm gonna do what I know, but at the same time, like, I'm open to learning. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's really helped me a lot because, with that guy Josh and a few other boxers that I've trained with that are really high in the boxing, in their careers and in the boxing community, I feel like the sparring's worked out so well because I don't have an ego. I'm not in there trying to I'm trying to work, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like I'm definitely just a student of the game, and it's paid off.
No, yeah, I think at that level, man, it's kind of like going to another MMA gym or a BJJ gym. You kind of it's respect, you don't go in there and try to
Right.
smash people, because I mean they welcome you to their home, and it's like, hey, you know what? It's all nothing but respect, but at the same time, like you say, you got to train, you got to spar, you got to hit each other and move around,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, funny story, man. Everyone was telling me when I started kind of like reaching out, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get sparring with this one guy, and everyone was like, with Josh, and I'm like, yeah. They're like, bro, be careful, like he can hit. And so like I told him, yeah, I've already had a conversation with him, but the first time we sparred, I was like, bro, I was on my toes, man. I knew, and don't get me wrong, it was good work. But at the end of the day, I feel like it just kind of enhanced my competitive spirit, and I know he was, kind of heard the same thing about me, and so it was all around just really good work.
No, no, that's great, bro. I know for the most part, man. I don't know if I had anything to do back in the day with like fighters cross training, man. Because when I started my company, 210 Fight Gear, I used to sponsor local fighters from each gym. Like, and I'm not
Mhm.
gonna throw the names, but I used to, sponsor one fighter from one gym, the next one, and before I knew it, they were cross training. So they were like, "Oh yeah, dude, I got some work in," and I'm like, "Really? Like where?" And they're like, "Oh, dude, well, it was kind of closed doors, bro. Like, and it was
Yeah,
closed doors. Like a lot of people that weren't doing that, but."
yeah,
Like I remember we had done a photo shoot for my shirt company, and like every fighter was from a different gym, and they were kind of just like, oh hey, everybody knew each other from the fight game, but nobody
yeah.
really like ever talked. So it was kind of awkward, but at the end of the day, people were laughing and hanging out. I mean, it was a pretty
Mm.
good thing to see. But
I think
after
it's the community. Not to cut you off, but
no,
no,
no, yeah,
I've noticed that too. I think San Antonio is just we're very prideful people. We're a boxing town, and so it's always like my gym versus the world, which is cool to have. But like I feel like I'm part of this newer generation where we know like in order to get to the next level, like we have to break these barriers down and cross train. And even with MMA, like
yeah,
going into a boxing gym, people are like, oh, you're an MMA. Like I can tell when people think like, oh, he's an MMA fighter. He has no technique or this and that. But it's just like I said, man, humbling yourself, understanding like you're just there to work, and I feel like that's really just been open doors for me. Everywhere I go, I make sure I talk to the coach. I message them before and let them know like I'm just trying to get better. And when you have that attitude, I think it's really hard to kind of deny that.
no. One of the things, man, and I always bring up my old coach in Mike Rangel, man, because when I first started in Vale Tudo, I was with Mike maybe like 2 years.
Hmm.
And I had told him, and I said, "Hey," and I was kind of, I wasn't afraid or scared, but I was kind of like, "Damn," because I didn't want him to think I was trying to leave. But I
Right.
told him, and I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about training over here at this gym," and he was all like, "Yeah, man, that's fine." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's your money." And I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Like I was kind of surprised because I was like, "But the guy." I give him that credit, man, because at that time he just wanted to train. He was training. He was a student himself, and he told us that
Mhm.
from the beginning. And I think that was a very very humble thing to say because he was our instructor, but he was like, "Man, I'm still learning," and we're kind of like, "Damn, like what?" Like it was kind of
Yeah.
unheard of. This is like back in 2002, man. And I remember after that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to a boxing gym, and it was kind of weird because I would try to go. I would go to boxing gyms and I would tell them like, "Hey, I'm doing vale todo." I mean, they didn't know what we didn't.
Mhm.
The term MMA wasn't around. We used
Yeah,
to
the
say freestyle
OG.
fighting. Yeah, man. So it was kind of like, but I would tell them like, "Hey, this is what I do, and I just want to like get better with my hands." And they're like, "Oh," and I would train there like a day or two, and they'd be pissed off, dude, because my stance was off. I was in,
Yeah.
and I was just like, "Man, well, this is how I stand." And they're like, "Nah, man, that's not boxing." And I said, "Well, I'm not trying to box. I'm just trying to."
Right.
And so it was a hard thing to kind of go into because I mean, there was a few gyms that were traditional gyms that I just wanted to go to. I went to a judo place. They were kind of like, "Hey, you can't do that. That's illegal in judo." And I'm like, "Bro, like it was just it was crazy because they didn't understand that I just wanted to train just to train." It's
Right.
kind of hard to say back then, but now I think it's more open, man, because people do respect the sport no matter where they're at, and they respect the time and the sacrifice. and
Right.
everything that comes with it, you know. But I mean, I'm glad things are better now, man, because you know you can literally go to any gym and be like, hey, well, this is who I am, but you know, I want to learn capoeira, bro. I want to learn some cakes, you know, throw them out there, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
man. But I'm glad, man. I mean, I'm glad that the sport has been evolving, and you know, you guys are able to cross train as much as you do.
Yeah, no, I think, again, I'm starting to learn a little bit more about the business side and
Yeah,
understand how, sometimes it may be scary if you have students who are saying, "Hey, I want to go train here," but I think if you're confident in what you teach and you're true
yeah,
to what you teach, that's the biggest thing too, is like, for our gym, we offer no gi, BJJ. And we tell people from the first time that they get in, we started that program mostly for our guys that are wanting to venture off into MMA.
right.
And so when someone comes in who's just looking like, hey, I just want to do jiu-jitsu, we like say, hey, we do offer that, but if this is something that you're trying to rank up in, or if you're trying
Yeah,
to get into a gi and learn the basics, like, you know, pretty much our no gi class, our coach that teaches it, it's like half wrestling and then half,
yeah,
how to get up from bottom and then how to hold someone down. And
yeah.
so, uh, we're pretty open with that, and we understand, like, we're confident in how we teach it and
Yeah.
what we teach. And if it's just not for you, then, we're definitely okay saying that up front and letting people venture off to what they're looking for.
No, that's man. That's glad. I'm glad to hear that, man. Because yeah, it takes a lot to be able to tell students that, you know, because it is a
Right.
business, and of course you want to be able to sell it and be like, man, we'll send you to the mundial, we'll do. I mean, but you know what I mean. But I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that you guys are, saying that, I think back when I was teaching, man, I used to tell people I used to do boxing concepts. I used to use the word concept a lot. And every
Okay.
time they'd be like, "Oh man, well I want to learn how to box," and I'm like, "Bro, I do concepts. Like I don't do. I'm not a boxer. I don't do that." I said, "There's plenty of
Right.
gyms here in San Antonio." I said, "I can refer you to a few." The same thing with jiu-jitsu or MMA. Like I used to do MMA concepts, and everybody always thought they were like, "Oh, well, you know what?" Like they wanted to fight competitively,
Mhm.
and I would be like, "Man, like I can send you to some gyms that'll put you through the ringer, bro." I said, everything I was doing was basically like for people that just wanted to learn, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because even back then, this is like 2004. People weren't doing that. Everything was like, no, you're either a jiu-jitsu guy or you're not, or you're an MMA guy
Right.
or you're not. And for me, I was just like, man, there's people from all walks of life, and they just want to train because it's something cool and it keeps them, keep you healthy and keep you moving. I know,
Right.
in 2005, and this is not just to plug myself in real quick, but in 2005, I was like the first guy to teach Brazilian jiu-jitsu in the mornings. I was the only morning class. I had
Wow.
like 42 students in the morning, bro, and it blew up quick because just like me, I used to work nights at the post office and I wanted to do it just to train. But when people were like, hey, man, well, will you teach and this and that? And I was like, well, yeah, you know what? I'll do it,
Yeah.
purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And I said, yeah, why not? So before I knew it, it blew up and I show up to class in the morning and I'm like, holy crap, dude, like 30, 40 people. And this was inside a
Yeah.
Wonderland Mall, bro. We were inside the mall.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, dude, it was a good time. It was some great, great times, bro. And I miss those days. But a lot of my students still, past students still kept training, and a lot of them are jujitsu black belts now. And I'm like, damn, it's pretty
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
But
No,
bro,
I think that's like the biggest thing, bro, is just, being confident with what you are, not overselling yourself into making, promises that, and I think that my dad has really been, just like a big component of that for myself, and understanding like what we know, and if there's something that we don't know, we're not afraid to say that and to reach out to someone else, or something like that. So
no, no, heck yeah, dude. And I miss talking to your dad, man. I definitely got to start making it out there, man.
yeah.
Let me ask you, brother, this next fight coming up, bro. Tell us a little bit about your opponent.
Yeah, so I'm fighting a guy named Nick Gay. He's been around, man. He's been in a few title fights. He's definitely experienced. I think that he's gonna come prepared. I know he's making the drop down to 185, and he used to fight. From what I heard, he used to fight at like 155, and then
Yeah.
went up to light heavyweight, and is now coming back down. So, I'm preparing for the best Nick Gay that is coming to get back into the win column, and his wealth of experience is definitely something that we're keen on. So, um, it's going to be a good scrap for sure.
No, for sure, man. Let me post that fly real quick, man, because of course this is it, man, and of course this is going to be for the Fury FC promotion. It's going to be here in San Antonio at the Boeing Tech Center. Boeing, I keep mispronouncing that dude, because I always tell people it's the Boeing Tech Center, but Boeing Center at Techport is what they call it. But
Yeah, it's like a
nonetheless,
weird
man, the
name.
old Lackland Air Force Base area, and of course, I mean, it's not the first time you're going to fight at that location, man. So what are some things? I think the last time we talked about, we mentioned those steps, bro, because they had some steps that were like you had to like tiptoe down those suckers, bro.
Yeah, nah, I think luckily we don't have to worry about those this time. I think it's just a walkway that always gets me. But no, I mean it's a beautiful venue. I think if you haven't been out there, it's definitely a good venue to watch fights at. Not only have I competed there, but I've been, two fights there, and every time you're there, it almost feels like an arena feel. And so definitely, if you're free on Friday, come check it out. It's a beautiful spot. It's got like all the, greatest tech. I think they do
Oh
like EDM concerts and a whole bunch of
yeah,
different, stuff there. So it's a cool time. And only thing I got to say, man, is because last time I went, I was going as a fan, and I looked at my bank account the next day after going to the bar, and I was like, Jesus, like so. Yeah, have a little budget, man, if you're gonna be buying drinks. That's the one thing I'll say. They gotta relax on their prices, man.
no, no, yeah, bro. I've been there before, man, and I was gonna say too, man. There's no bad seat in the venue, bro. I mean, anywhere you
No,
sit, you get a good eye view, and yeah, it's a great location. I mean, the fact that they keep going back, and there's other promotions that have used it as well, but
yeah,
it's kind of like the hot spot. It's in the right off the highway, Highway 90. But man, yeah, bro. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I know it's gonna be Friday. I might, if I'm in town, I'm definitely gonna be heading out there, bro. Let
oh
me
yeah.
ask you, bro, as far as your sponsors, man, because I know sponsorship's always a plus when it comes to training because it helps out with your travel,
Mhm.
with diapers, right, and other stuff,
Yep.
But who are some of the companies helping you out, man?
Yeah, so I got to start off, man, with I have a personal sponsor who was actually a member of my gym. He became a personal, training client of mine. His name is Rich Mitchell. He has been just absolutely the best when it comes to, asking me what I need. He got me all my fight gear. He got me hooked up to go to Houston, and so he is just, such a blessing for me and my family, and really understands. Like I said, he trains here, so he knows how much I'm here,
Yeah,
how much time I'm investing into my craft, and he's just been wonderful. So Rich Mitchell, big
nice.
shout out to you. The other few sponsors that I have La Suprema Corn Husk, Berto,
Yeah,
another guy I met at a boxing gym, and again, his company, they sell basically corn husks for tamales. And I've already told him, like, give me a pack ready, because after this dub, man, I'm gonna enjoy some tamales for sure. I
yeah,
wasn't able to tea Danny for Christmas, but he's got me. Another sponsor is G Core Construction. Again, they do basically luxury homes, but they do everything when it comes to construction and home building.
nice.
Alex has been another great supporter of mine, always looking out, reaching out, making sure I'm good. Rock's Discount has been another one. They're keeping me right with all my supplements. Nano Pharmaceuticals, another cool guy that I met again at a boxing gym.
Nice.
That has been just a great overall friend. He's a gentleman that also competes in the Masters boxing division, so he knows
Great, man.
what comes with medicals and this and that, and his company is really about to change the game, as far as vitamins and different supplements that you can use to enhance your overall life. Funny story, I got to give a quick shout out to Will and his company, because he gave me some supplements to try, and I was using them, but then like I was like, there's no way I'm using this much. And at the time I had given some to my mom, and so I asked my mom, are you using them? She's like, no, your grandma is. So these supplements are B12 and
Yeah,
vitamin D and different stuff like that people of all ages can use. Of course, I have Desi Martinez and Associates, who's going to be running for state representative coming up in the next, I believe, 6 weeks or so. So he's been a longtime supporter of mine and is super, just involved with my career. And, big love to Desi and all his people out there. And then, of course, I got Bert's Laser Works. He's another member of my gym here that is, helping me out as much as he can. Um, and I know I'm probably forgetting a few, but those are the sponsors that have been rocking with me, for this next fight, and just super blessed to have them.
No, no, for sure, man. I mean, because the fact that they stick around and help you and they know what you go through, man. I mean, that says a lot. But good for them, man. I'm glad that you are getting the help that you deserve. And I was gonna say with the tamales, bro. I call those Texas protein bars, man. But I can
Man,
definitely go for some, bro. But not right now.
yeah. So the reason I'm doing this interview is because it's my at this time I should say it's my girlfriend's mom's birthday, and I know they're just cooking it up at home. So I'm about to start cutting weight. I'm like, you know what, man? I'll stay at the gym after hours and knock
No,
this
no,
out.
for sure, man. But dude, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for jumping on here, man. Best of luck, bro. I mean, not just with this next fight coming up, but with other ventures that open up and allow you to step inside their ring or their cage. Because like you said, you're still young, and right now that you can, hope those opportunities come, and those sponsors keep coming, bro. I forgot to ask you when it comes to a code. I mean, do you guys still get credit for your tickets?
Yeah. So if you buy them online, which I believe the website is furyfc.tv, you can go and buy tickets. I am completely sold out of my tickets that I have in hand.
Okay.
But I believe up until Wednesday, I can still get credit. So if you do buy a ticket, there's an option where it says like choose your fighter, choose who you're watching. You can select my name and I'll still get credit for that. But again, man, I was really blessed for this fight. The boxing fight, I had a whole bunch of momentum, and going into this next one, I was able to sell out pretty quick with my tickets. So super thankful for everyone that bought one and supported me. Real quick, I can't believe I forgot him, but my man Tony, who owns the boxing gym that I train at, but also has the Aqua boxing glove. I don't know if you guys if you follow me on my socials, I've been rocking that, but he was on Shark Tank a few years
Yes,
back.
bro. I saw that, and yes, go ahead. I'm gonna say a little story about that, but yes, I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so his product is finally launched. He's been going through a few years of just making the product good, and that's one thing that I got to give him his credit for is like when I started training at the gym, I'm like, bro, when are these gloves gonna launch? Like, I need to get some. He's like, I got to make sure everything's right. So he's finally launched his product. You
Uh,
can find those at aquaboxingglove.com. You can just Google search it. And again, those products are great, for anyone really, and honestly, anyone. You can fill them up to 5 pounds or as little as 1 pound.
yeah,
It's water weight, so it's a different type of feel, rather than like punching with dumbbells or something like that.
right.
But he's definitely been a big help, just overall, not only financial sponsorship, but mentorship, leadership, all of that good stuff.
No, no, I was gonna say I met that guy a couple years back, and this was like I'm glad that they finally launched, dude, because he definitely had
Yeah,
that idea and that goal, and he had told me about it, and I thought it was a cool concept because it just wasn't so much low impact, but
right.
anybody could use them. You can go out there and do shadow boxing, and because of the water weight, I always thought that was great because it kind of makes you use your core muscles a lot more, a lot of those muscles that you don't normally use. But
Yeah,
dude, that's awesome, man. Congratulations to him, man. I gotta look him up after this. But yeah, definitely a good, humble dude, and I'm glad he's
yeah.
doing great, and I'm glad that product's out there. But definitely go check it out.
Yeah, he just, like I said, launched, I would say maybe like at the beginning of the year.
All right,
And I can really be like a truthful testament to, how long he's been working on getting the product right. And, a few years back when I first started training at his gym, he was like, nah, it's not ready yet. I mean, this dude's going to China, going to California, going to New York, trying to get, everything sourced correctly. And
oh yeah,
so now it's finally launched. Like even with my personal clients, I have them, put them on for a little bit, and it's a completely game changer,
yeah.
for someone who hasn't felt that. So big shout out to Tony and Aqua Boxing Glove.
Dude, for sure, man. I'm glad he's out there still doing it, man. But yeah, bro. But bro, thank you for jumping on here, man. As always, I appreciate your time, brother.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me on.
No, no problem, man. Don't hang up yet, bro. But real quick, everybody out there, of course, once again, Spider here, the Fight Card Podcast.